Let's turn this into this. Hi there, my name's Kara-Lynne Dunn, and I'm a Dot Mandala artist, and I'd love to welcome you to my channel. Let's get started. Okay, friends, we're doing another donation for the Westben Theatre because we love them, and they're having an auction, and so we are creating a Lazy Susan for them. And I just wanted to show you our color palette. And of course we have white as well, and our Craft Smart black for the base. Now we may add in a color or two, and I'll put it in the description box if we do. We have Vivid Violet, Purple Pizzazz, Lavender, Wild Orchid, Light Orchid, Desert Turquoise, Indian Turquoise, and Shoreline. And you could use Whispering Turquoise if you wanted for that as well. So we're going to start with our center dot in Vivid Violet. I have added some gloss medium to it, so I think we're ready to get started. So I have already varnished the back, and now we're ready to get started on this 14-inch Lazy Susan. I've got 16 segments, and of course my circles are at 0.5 centimeter increments. And we're using the 12mm tool to place this center dot. I'm gonna let that dry for a bit. Okay, I had to top that up because where the divot from the compass was, it kind of sucked it in. That's okay. We topped it up and we're ready to move forward. So we're going to start with a round of white dots. I'm going to start with the small end of the 1mm tool. The next row is in the Light Orchid, and we're using the 0.5mm tool. And can you look at that center dot? The middle has sunk again. I'm gonna have to get serious here. So our next color will be the Wild Orchid, and we'll use the 2mm tool for this round of dots. So pretty! So for a few years we have been donating art pieces to the Westben Theatre in Campbellford, Ontario, because they do amazing work there, and we're just happy to contribute in any way that we can. And so art is where it's at. Usually they have a project earlier in the season where artists will be given something to paint, like a birdhouse, or we did a birdhouse, and then we did a little table one year, and it's fun. And then they auction them off. And I've always been honored to have been asked to donate something. All right, I think we're gonna have to go 2.5 this time. Hopefully that'll be big enough. We're going in with Lavender. And so we should just be sitting on this line here. So Westben, it's a charitable nonprofit organization. They have this 400-seat timber frame barn theater. They have a grassy amphitheater and an intimate campfire where they have music experiences. It's on 50 acres in Campbellford, Ontario, and it was founded by Donna Bennett and Brian Finley. And for over 26 years, they have brought people together through music, nature, and community. And they just put on some amazing shows. And often they'll have little lunches and that beforehand. They offer year-round events ranging from classical, opera, choral music, Broadway reviews, jazz, folk, rock, and indigenous performances. They are just amazing. And that's why we do what we do for them. So for sure, if you're out Campbellford way in Ontario, make sure to visit the Westben Theatre. Honestly, you'll love it. And just like that, the lavender dots are in. Lovely, lovely. So the next color is, our all-time favorite, Purple Pizzazz. Okay, we're using the 3mm tool. And we're gonna come right in there. And you just wanna make sure that you don't get so close to the other guys that there's any bleed of one paint into the other. Okay, that looks great so far. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're creating a little pattern that we're going to put some swooshes in. And so we're starting from the line that is 15 centimeters from the rim. So this line here, and we are going down 1.5 centimeters from there, and just meeting at the midpoint here. And it should give us 8 lovely swoosh flowers. And then we'll be coming out from there, sort of starting our swoosh here for the next one, and we'll probably come down to about there. So I know where I want to get to. And if that changes, because it might, that's fine. It's chalk pencil. Okay, so now that we've put that in, we need to get the excess chalk dust off. Okay, and what we're going to do is start with the lightest color, which is the light orchid, just using tools. Okay, so we're going to start here. And we're going to take that swoosh all the way down. And if I don't reach all the way down, I'm going to help it. When your swoosh doesn't flow the way you want it to, it's too thick, okay? So now I've just added some pouring medium. And that was much better. And I'm taking the tiny tool down closer to those dots because I don't want to get any of that light orchid onto those purple dots. Is the wild orchid. And now we're going to be making a swoosh down like so. Okay, so we're not going beyond these lines, so we're following that down. next color is lavender. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm actually coming to that line, but the last place I want to be is right here. So you want to leave room for that, okay? And you're leaving a negative space, obviously, in between your swooshes. And you can see all these should line up. So we're coming just above this line and swooshing down. Oh, I got a little close there. Hopefully it won't bleed. Now this is very similar to a piece that I did many years ago. But I just love the design and the colors, and I thought, yeah, that's going to be great for the Westben Theatre Company. And this will be different, but the inspiration was there. All right, next color is Purple Pizzazz. So these two swooshes should meet right beside each other, but not join. And then we're going to have that color of dot in between. So. One too many times before, ended up staring in the bathroom mirror, crying on your bedroom floor. Baby, you can take my word, you haven't gotta hurt no more. Things about to get much better. I wanna make this forever. I wanna make this forever. Okay, so in between all of those, we're going to place a vivid violet dot. And what size? Let's see. Can we fit a 3mm dot in there? Because that would be great if we could do that. Circles on a one-way street, round until your feet get sore. Well, I guess you haven't heard, you ain't got around no more. Things about to get much better, so I wanna make this forever. Here, part one. Now we're pretty much going to do the same thing, but in the opposite direction. I placed these ones while you weren't looking. So those are in Purple Pizzazz. I used the 2mm tool. We started just in between those guys, and we brought that swoosh out towards the rim where we had marked the lines already. All right, back from my coffee break. So now we're going in with the next color, which is lavender. Lavender, lovely lavender. Okay, and so we're going to be coming down. I don't know if you want good enough. All right, so now we're going with lavender. Okay. Lovely, lovely lavender. Lovely, lovely lavender. Wild Orchid is next. Okay. Thank you, Wild Orchid. Okay, I think we may very well add a color. So what we'll add is the Vivid Violet. Let's start here. So if we go here, and there we go. Okay, now we're going to take our darkest of the blues. Now we're going to take our desert turquoise. So in this spot here, a couple of my swooshes were too wide, so I'm just taking them off and I'm painting it out, and we will put them in after. We're going to start putting our little dots in though while we wait for that to dry. And we've decided to use the 2.5mm tool to place these desert turquoise dots. Here's where it's going to start popping. So this is the 2.5mm tool, but lots of paint. Go by whatever space you have. And I may very well place one here with the small end of that tool. And we'll place these ones with the 1mm tool. Now I'll tell you right now, if you're following along with the video, that I do go back, change my mind, and these last 2 rows of dots will be in glorious gold. Now let's get these guys back in. There we go. So the next thing we're going to do is place a round of white dots around there. Don't worry, I got that missing dot. A 3mm tool here for our round of titanium white dots. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Now we're going to place some flower bases around there, and we're going to place the flower bases in lavender. So 11.5 it is, my friends. Okay, that's where we should be. So this part of the base is 10.5 centimeters from the rim. We're going to go on every other line, and that's going to give us our 8 flowers. There, the flower bases are in. Time to walk some dots, my friends. We don't want to come any higher than that. I'm going to start with the 1mm tool for the uppermost dot in the light orchid. Let's do that all the way around. And we'll use the 0.5mm tool to walk those dots down. Okay, our next color is Wild Orchid. I think I'm going to give it a larger dot at the top, a larger uppermost dot, so 2.5. There we are. There we are. It's always a surprise when I get around there. And we use the 1mm tool to take those dots down. Okay, so our next color is actually Purple Pizzazz. I take the 3mm tool for the uppermost dots. And we'll probably walk down with the 2mm tool. So I'm really single dotting halfway down and then walking the dots after that. Okay friends, Vivid Violet is next. We will use the 3mm tool, but we're gonna really load that paint on there. All right, so I think we'll be using the 3mm tool to walk these down. There we go. We got them all the way around, my friends. So now we're going to place some swooshes in between the flowers. And we're using the 3mm tool. And we're starting 2.5 centimeters from the white dots. And we're running that swoosh down. And it will end 1 centimeter from the white dots. Okay, all right, next color is the Indian turquoise, and we're going to come down one here. And again, I'm just making sure that gets dragged down far enough that my little dot at the bottom is going to cover that. Thank you, Indian turquoise. And the next one will be shoreline. Next, we're going to place an Indian turquoise dot above those. Then above that, we're going to place another lavender dot. And we're going to do this all over again. Okay, we're starting with the light orchid, 1mm tool for the uppermost dot. Okay, let's take that 1mm tool and place some dots. And we're walking those dots with the 0.5mm tool. And because this is our second round of doing these dots, I'm just going to do 1 flower per row. Okay, second round of dots in the wild orchid. We're using the 2mm tool for our uppermost dots. And the 1mm tool to walk those dots down. Get your purple pizzazz out. Uppermost dot with the 2.5mm tool. Now switch to the 2mm tool. And now for the stunning Vivid Violet. And we'll use the 3mm tool for these uppermost dots. And we'll walk them down with the 2.5mm tool. That's all the petals in. Let's add some dazzling metallics teal. We need some of that. We're going to do some top dotting. Beautiful. And here with the small end of the 2.5mm tool. And here with the 0.5mm tool. And here with the small end of the 1mm tool. Again, I'm going to change this to Glorious Gold, but whichever you prefer, you go ahead and put in. Okay, we're using the 10mm tool and the titanium white paint to place these dots down at the base of those swooshes. Okay, so now just as we did in the previous row, we're going to create those swooshes again, and we're using the 3mm tool and the desert turquoise for our first swooshes. Shoreline is next. And this is shoreline that's been lightened a bit with some white. Now I'm just sketching in a design element here that will end up, I don't know, looking like a flower pot or a basket. And we will be doing that in the pink tourmaline. Very exciting. Okay, here's the deal. My phone is overhead, up there. I was going to take it off because I was like, just said to Brian, hey, I may get this painting finished tonight or tomorrow for sure. And then I dropped my phone into my piece. So too bad I've already uploaded the mistakes module because this would definitely have been a perfect one. Oh my word. All fixed. Now we're using the pink tourmaline paint to create some little baskets underneath the swooshes. So we're just using the 2.5mm tool to load some paint in there. And once we do that, we will go in with the fine tip tool and just define those lines. Now, I will find afterwards that I wasn't exactly symmetrical with them all, so I will go back in and even them all up. Nice, I like them. Now we're taking the fine tip tool and that titanium white paint, and we're just placing tiny white dots in between the outer row of petal dots, and we'll do that for both rows of flowers. Nice. Moving on, we're using the 7.5mm tool to place some top dots. And we're placing these dots in the light orchid. And now some dazzling metallics teal top dots with the 5mm tool. So now we're using the purple pearl paint from Dazzling Metallics, the 2mm tool, to create some swooshes under the baskets. And now we're using the titanium white paint and the 2mm tool to place these swooshes just below the flowers here, all the way around. Time for some glorious gold. Using the 2mm tool, we're going to place these glorious gold dots in between the flowers and all the way around. Now let's use the 2mm tool to place purple pearl top dots on these white dots. Here we're placing pink tourmaline dots just on either side of the turquoise dot there, using the 0.5mm tool. Here I'm just rough sketching in some diamond shapes, sort of centering them in that space, and I will go in with glorious gold and fill those shapes in and define the edges. Okay friends, well, I apologize for this, but my battery had died. Anyhow, I just rough sketched in these diamond shapes, and I wanted to put them so that they were sort of over this spot here, as close as I could get. And yeah, I like how that turned out. So the thing we're going to do is we're going to go in here with tiny gold dots. Okay, that's that. Now, I'm going to take some gold. I've decided I want these dots gold, so I'm just going in over top with the 0.5mm tool. And these ones with the 2mm tool, just helping everything flow. Alright, might as well get those top dots in on our purple guys. So here and here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go in with the pink tourmaline. I'm gonna say 4.5 for these guys. And I think the same for these. Beautiful. Okay, I managed to sketch those lines back in. Hopefully they're okay. And now we're going in with a titanium white, and we're using the 3mm tool to create a round of white dots. Now, every once in a while this happens, and it happened to me this time. Not the right amount of space. Not enough for 2 dots, too much for 1. So we'll take off a few dots and we'll go at it again. Let's just say I got the back end. Just adding some more guidelines here. Okay, it's time for some desert turquoise. Using the 11.5mm tool. We will be top dotting that, but for now, we'll just walk some dots. Okay, so we just finished putting on this first row of dots in the Indian turquoise. Use the 2mm tool for the uppermost dot and the 0.5mm tool to walk the dots. The next color we'll be going in with is the shoreline. 2.5mm tool for the uppermost dot. And we'll carry that all the way around. And we'll switch to the 2mm tool to walk those dots down. Okay, a swoosh up the center between these two in Wild Orchid, and bringing it down to about 2 centimeters from the rim. And we're just using the 2mm tool. Getting lots of paint on there. Okay, we're heading in to make some swooshes towards center, and above here we'll be placing a dot here as well. So our center dot will be in the lavender. And this is going to be an 8mm dot, I think 8 or 8.5, probably 8. So I want to keep the bottom of the swooshes inside that circle. And that's why I drew them in there. So we'll use the large end of the 1mm tool here and the fine tip tool to drag them down to just inside the circle. Okay, next color is the Vivid Violet. Light Orchid is next, and you're just going to nest these dots a little bit below the dots before them. Okay, my friends, so what is next? We need some top dots here, and we need our dots here, but we'll do the top dots first, and maybe we'll go in with Shoreline 6.5. Pouring some titanium white for our next dots. Okay, we're going to put in our dots here, and I'm just going to take the tool I think will fit. So what you have to do is go all the way around and make sure you're going to fit, because sometimes our flowers are a little closer than we had anticipated they would be. Now you need to do the same thing so that you determine which tool size would work best for you with regards to what you've already got in there, okay? Fabulous! Okay, so we'll let those dry, and then we're going to go in with some of the pink tourmaline on top of these guys. I just love the look of that center part. While I'm waiting for some of that stuff to dry, I'm just going in and removing any guidelines that I can that aren't near any wet paint, and doing little touch-ups if needed. Okay, we're getting there. I'm just gonna take the guidelines off this outer rim this morning, and then I'll be able to do my final top dots. Okay, so I'm just placing some of this metallic teal on there and using the 4mm tool. Okay, 4.5. So this is with the pink tourmaline. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's it for the painting. I am enjoying this negative space. It kind of focuses everything in there. So, now it's time to let that dry. Okay, we're ready to varnish. I did have to do battle with that center dot, and I ended up having to sand it down and put it in again, but I finally won. All right, my friends, it's time to get some varnish on this piece. Just making sure there's no dust or little hairs or anything left on here. Okay, and I've got my high density foam brush, and we're just going to get started. First coat is done. I let it dry 3 to 4 hours in between coats, and we're putting on the third coat right now. We'll let that dry and we'll get some pictures. Introducing the Westben piece, When Music Inspires Your Soul. It's beautiful. I do love it. Thanks again for joining in on our tutorial, and please think about supporting the Westben Theatre or go to their shows. You'll love it. Remember, always keep on dotting. You won't regret it.